Robert Horry, a seven-time champion who played with and against the best players in NBA history, went on record and said that if you asked Michael Jordan what one guy he ever feared, the answer was Hakeem Olajuwon. And Jordan used to call him the Big African because he's from Nigeria. Jordan never said that publicly himself. And that detail, the fact that he never said it publicly, is actually the most interesting part of this whole story. So today we're going to go through every layer of this. Who Michael Jordan actually feared, what the numbers say that most people have never seen, and then at the very end, there's a direct Jordan quote, something he said himself, in his own words, that completely reframes the whole question. That last one is the one almost nobody talks about, and it changes everything. So stick around for that. Let's start with the head-to-head record, because this is where the story really begins. Over the course of their careers, Jordan and Olajuwon faced each other a total of 23 times in NBA games, and Hakeem Olajuwon has a 13-10 winning record over Michael Jordan. Read that again. Michael Jordan, the guy who went 6-0 in the finals, the guy who never lost a championship series, had a losing record against another Hall of Famer in the regular season. That's a fact that almost never comes up in the GOAT conversation, and it should. And it started even worse than that. Jordan went 0-4 in his first four matchups against the Rockets. The most feared scorer on the planet couldn't get a single win against this team early on. So this wasn't just a fluke, this was a pattern. Now here's what makes it even more interesting. It wasn't just the wins and losses. In those games, Olajuwon averaged 23.4 points, 11.7 rebounds, 3.5 blocks, and 1.9 steals, shooting 51.3% from the field. And on the other side of it, Jordan was shooting below his career average against Hakeem. His career field goal percentage sat around 49.7%, and against Olajuwon, he dipped to 46.8%. A rim protector who quietly pulled down Jordan's efficiency is a detail that almost never gets mentioned. Everyone talks about Jordan scoring 50 on somebody. Almost nobody talks about the guy who made him work harder than anyone else to get those points. So why didn't Jordan ever say this himself? Why did it take Robert Horry to let it slip at the Hall of Fame? Because Jordan's whole brand, his whole identity, was built on the idea that he didn't fear anyone. Admitting that one guy made him uncomfortable would crack the image he spent his entire career building. And Jordan understood image better than almost any athlete who ever lived. Both Olajuwon and Jordan entered the league from the legendary 1984 NBA draft. Hakeem was selected with the first overall pick, and Jordan came off the board a pick later, going third to Chicago. Same draft class, both dominant from day one. And yet the two never faced off in the playoffs. Not once. The biggest potential matchup in NBA history never happened. When Olajuwon finally did make it all the way to the finals, Jordan was away from basketball trying his hand at baseball. Houston won back-to-back titles in 1994 and 1995, perfectly sandwiched between Jordan's two three-peats. The universe set up the greatest what-if in basketball history and then pulled the plug before it could happen. Horry himself claimed that the Rockets would have still won those two championships had Jordan been playing because the Bulls simply couldn't contain Olajuwon. We'll never know, but the fact that we'll never know is exactly what keeps this conversation alive. Now here's where it gets weird, and this is the part I promised you early on that changes everything. Jordan's college roommate Buzz Peterson said in an interview with The Athletic, "There is one guy that I always thought, and I know to this day, I don't know if Michael won't admit it or not, but I swear that he had a little bit of fear of, and it wasn't a basketball player. It was a football player by the name of Lawrence Taylor. LT, he could guard east to west as quickly as anybody, could jump, had big hands, strong, and was a bit crazy. During LT's rookie year with the Giants, he came back to UNC to finish school that summer, and Dean Smith allowed him to practice with the basketball team. So you've got the future greatest defensive player in NFL history running around in pickup games with the future greatest basketball player who ever lived. And Jordan, the trash talker, the intimidator, the guy who made grown men cry in practice, was constantly calling foul. Every time Taylor turned around, Jordan was saying foul, foul, foul. The all-time intimidator, begging for foul calls. That image alone tells you everything. Peterson said Taylor could guard east to west, as quick as anybody, could jump, big hands, strong, and was a bit crazy. So Michael in the back of his mind said, I better be careful with this guy. And LT wasn't exactly playing fair either. Even though Taylor knew he was overmatched against Jordan on the court, he refused to back down and would throw in an elbow or two to level the playing field. I'm not saying I'm a fair player, I'm just saying I'm a player, Taylor said. So we've got Horry saying Jordan feared Hakeem, Peterson saying Jordan feared Lawrence Taylor, both secondhand, both from people who were in the room. But Jordan himself? He stayed quiet on all of it, until golf. This is the one moment where Jordan actually said it himself. At the 2021 Ryder Cup, Jordan told Steph Curry directly, I'm not scared of anybody but Ian Poulter. A direct quote from Michael Jordan's own mouth about fear. And the answer was a golfer, not Hakeem, not LT, not the Bad Boy Pistons. A golfer named Ian Poulter. Now, if you've made it this far, drop a comment below. Who do you think Jordan actually feared most on a basketball court? Hakeem, LT, or nobody? I want to see what you think. And if you want more deep dives like this one, subscribe and hit the bell, because we do these regularly, and the next one is one you're really not going to want to miss. But here's the thing. None of those answers are the real one, because Jordan actually told us exactly what he feared most, and it had nothing to do with any of those people. In his 2005 book, Jordan wrote about his relationship with his college coach, Dean Smith. I was totally afraid of Coach Smith because he was a big name in the state of North Carolina, and I was this kid from a small city. That's a direct quote from Jordan himself. The most competitive human being in the history of professional sports said he was totally afraid, and it was of his college coach, not a player, a coach. And then there's the quote that puts all of this to rest. In a 1989 GQ interview, Jordan said the things that scared him most were the bad things, the things that would tear down Michael Jordan's image. That's the biggest fear I face. Not Hakeem, not Lawrence Taylor, not Ian Poulter. The thing Michael Jordan feared most was losing control of who Michael Jordan was. Think about that against everything we just covered. He never publicly admitted Hakeem gave him trouble. He never acknowledged that a football player made him call fouls in a pickup game. He kept all of it quiet because every one of those admissions would have chipped away at the image. The image was the whole game. And nobody, not Olajuwon, not LT, not any player who ever crossed him, ever took that from him. They played 23 times. Hakeem won 13 of them. Peterson swore Jordan had fear of Lawrence Taylor. And it wasn't a basketball player. And Jordan himself said the only thing that truly scared him was what could happen to his image. We started this video asking who Michael Jordan was actually scared of. And the honest answer is, the only thing that ever really had him was the idea of being seen as human. Every single person on this list got a little piece of that. None of them got all of it. If you want more stories like this, the stuff that didn't make the highlight reels, there's one right on your screen that goes just as deep. Watch that next.